Radical Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, quote, some slack over growing concerns that his soft on crime policies are contributing to a rise in Big Apple violence. Reaction now from former New York City Republican mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa. Curtis, thank you for being here. The obvious question, how about cutting some slack for the cops who are getting shot and killed instead of the radical prosecutor?
Oh, absolutely. And remember, Alvin Bragg publicized his manifesto. But all these other DAs, they have in their office a list of do not prosecute offenses, starting with shoplifting and then working its way up to the more egregious and serious crimes. So even though Alvin Bragg is the poster child for hugging the thugs and turning them loose, all these other DAs are doing the same thing, except they haven't publicized it. So Kathy Hochul, and I call her Hochul because she's full of nonsense, is trying to have it both ways. Like I read the riot act to Alvin Bragg. She did nothing. And now she's going to cut him some slack. The only slack you get, David, is when you go into a Duane Reade or a Walgreens store and they give you an Alvin Bragg bag, which you can shoplift the entire store with. And if you notice, all of these stores are starting to close, causing even more economic devastation to urban areas across America.
Well, Curtis, the bottom line is who needs protection? Who needs protection? Is it the criminals? Do they need protection? Or is it the cops and the honest citizens and the businesses that are just trying to live their lives in a society that protects the innocent? Doesn't harm the innocent and protect the guilty. It protects the innocent. They've got it completely backwards.
David, how about all the suckers who pay the taxes that keep these elected officials not only in office, but with police protection themselves, SUVs that they get to be driven around in at taxpayers' expense? There is no consideration for the citizens out there. Now, let's look at New York City. Tomorrow, President Joe Biden is going to come in with a brand new mayor, Eric Adams, and they're going to say, oh, it's the iron pipeline. It's all the illegal guns coming in from out of state. There are already 2 million illegal handguns in New York City, and they've been around forever because, like plastic bags, they're not biodegradable. How is it that Rudy Giuliani and Michael Bloomberg in 20 years were able to keep those guns off the street, those same guns, but de Blasio and Adams hasn't? Notice in the first month of Eric Adams, 6 cops have been shot, 2 killed, and crime is worse in this 1 month than it was in any 1 month of the 8 years of the miserable cycle of Bill de Blasio. Well, Eric Adams.
Michelle Go was not killed by a gun. She was pushed in front of a subway by a crazy homeless guy who should have been in a shelter. A week before she was killed in a subway, another commuter was stabbed to death on the subway. There are people killed and injured all the time by objects other than guns. It's not the guns that are the problem. It's the criminals that use either guns or their own hands or knives or whatever. That's the problem. It's the criminal, not the object that they use.
And look at the emotionally disturbed. They're everywhere. San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, St. Louis, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York. All these cities that have refused to take these lost souls, and they are, these men and women who are not in control of their mental faculties, and instead of hospitalizing them and getting them their medicine, they allow them to roam the streets, the subways, and the parks of their cities. And as a result, we continue this cycle of unchecked, unrecognized violence that could happen at any moment. And you know something? In all these cities, women are the workers. Women need to go to the restaurants and bars and the nightclubs, because if the women don't go, the men don't go. The cities will never recover until we make the city safe for women, so they don't have to Uber themselves all over the place.
No, it's the worst form of misogyny is defenseless women getting killed by men, and that's what's happening not only in New York, it's happening in L.A. as we saw a couple of weeks ago. It's happening every day in cities around the country. Finally, Curtis, I got to ask you about the mayor himself, Mayor Adams. Last time you were on, you were very gracious toward him. You said even though you were competing against him for the mayoral election, you said, if he gets tough, I'm going to be the first one to help him with his tough on crime policies, which he telegraphed he was going to do. I haven't seen it yet. Have you?
No, he's been styling and profiling. Number one, he said he would bring back the undercover unit, the plainclothes unit of the NYPD, the most effective measure at stopping violence. Now he says they're going to have a different uniform with a badge and a video camera. That's not undercover. And what happened at Stop and Frisk? He said he would bring back Stop and Frisk. David, I haven't seen any stop and frisk, and I don't see any cops in the subways. So he's selling us wolf tickets in this first month. And by tomorrow's visit by President Joe Biden, hopefully he can find his way to One Police Plaza where he's going to go. We're not going to get any improvement. It's time to get tough, Eric Adams. Man up.
Well, I don't know how many more cops have to be shot and killed, how many more commuters have to be killed in the subways before he takes the tough action that he promised New Yorkers he would take. And I know you would help him once he gets tough and has a specific plan. Curtis Sliwa, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. We'll be right back. More after this.